Bonjour. Bonjour à
Good afternoon to all of you. I'm the other person from Data for Good after Lou, who went on stage. We're talking about shipping and illegal shipping. I would like to speak about a Pioneer, another project on wildfire, which goes in line with what was said before. I mean, they represent 10% of gas emission in the world, and it accounts for 9 million tons of CO2 in Europe, which represents a lot of emission of what Microsoft should have reduced for several years now. But the problem is that it's worsening. The situation is worsening. I mean, this situation, the wildfire, for example, forest fire, also with the climate change, is worsening because, first of all, there's a drought, extra drought. Hygrometry is changing. Pine is propagating, which is more inflammable. And behind all this, I mean, the triggering factor for wildfires is, first of all, that is a fire created by a human, but also the climatic factor aggravates and worsens the wildfire. And so we're talking about 30% of extra wildfire in the next years to come, and this is a major problem. The NGO we've been working with, Pioneer, developed a system they've seen before, which is called a pyro-station, which has been installed on various towers. I mean, before, I mean, there were firemen, I mean, observing the forest, which is not the best job and the best position to have. Unfortunately, I mean, these have disappeared, but the towers still exist. And so what we created is these stations equipped with camera devices with a mini computer, which is going to film the forest to try and detect starting wildfires. And then the specificity, but then I'm going to explain why this topic is really interesting, is because we were interested in the triggering of wildfires, that is when there is still smoke but not the flames yet. Now, why is this very important? Because when we can see smoke, I mean, it's not too late. I mean, the fire brigade can still try to extinguish the fire. And then later, I mean, after talking to the fire brigade, with the people managing the forest, the National Office for Protecting Forests, I mean, that was the idea. The idea was to be able to intervene as soon as possible, because then it would hinder quite a few wildfires. Satellite images, I mean, could be a solution, but these are not accurate enough to detect the smoke. And so we realized that the only solution was to be able to install these cameras to have a closer vision, a closer view. But on the other side, I mean, there was the other side of the coin, I mean, was that it created problem, because as we do not have the above view, we do not know where the wildfire is. And so there's a lot of algorithm when we detect all this to assess the depth, the localization, and then transport the vision to try and be able to identify a point on the map to say, well, we should go there. And as you can, I mean, this is being implemented in France, in Ardèche area. It's been implemented for quite a while, but though the platform is not the nicest one in the world, but when it detects a wildfire, I mean, it's going to warn the fire brigade, who then are able to intervene and act rapidly. What I learned with this project are the fundamentals, I mean, of what should be done with AI. That is, I mean, to start with, I mean, we were sort of like gigs. I mean, let's develop a project, we identify, we detect fires, but then we realized that we never managed to build up something first without the fire brigade and also maintenance in time. And so it completely changed the detection system, the algorithm. We raised questions about how we're going to implement this on the ground, what are the partnerships we're going to develop with which city, with which forest, and that the project was not ideological anymore, but a project was going to change things, really. And so really I invite you to read a paper which has been released, AI for Group, and thinking about all these problems. Now, today, I mean, this is being produced in France, but in Chile also, and we are rolling out this in other forests. If you're the owner of a forest, for example, or manager of a forest, we are interested. And but at least, I mean, any model, all the open source, all the cameras, as they can be replicable and useful. and can be used also, but we are AI for good. I mean, what we try to do is that it should be free and that can be replicated. And also, we're trying to develop something on lightning, because lightning, we try to avoid them because they also trigger wildfires. And so with this system, we are sort of becoming lightning hunter, and that's it. Thank you.